Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, sometimes the fight for acceptance is actually quite literal. And if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals, pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here for this audio-only experience, and I suspect that you do because you're listening. So please keep listening and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, give us a 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere, places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, Letterboxd, the TikTok, the Blue Sky, the Threads. There's too many, but we're at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the movie image at large. Because guess what? We love to watch it and write about it and talk about it. We love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that ultimate kindness. Come on by and pay us a visit. It's time once more for us to dive headfirst back into the, one of our favorite festivals of the year, the Hot Docs Canadian International Documentary Film Festival here in the city of Toronto, which is one of the, if not the largest, documentary-specific film festival in North America, where the worlds of documentary from Canada, all over the world collide, and create some fantastic viewing for people like me walking up and down the streets. But we're diving into the Canadian competition, into the Canadian realm of it all once more with a film called Constant Battles from filmmaker Mackenzie Stannard, and it's having its world premiere tomorrow night at the Lightbox. So go check your listings if you want to go check out a movie or any movie. Go to hotdocs.ca and learn more about it. But this is the story of a young woman, the first Iranian-born female Olympic boxer, and her struggles to not only qualify and sort of succeed in a sport where Iranian women are generally discouraged, but also dealing with her own anxiety about it all, but also the anxiety about her mother's, the trauma in her past, and the realities of being an Iranian woman in a sport like this. And just, it's such a unique balance to see a documentary like this, which is a really good sports documentary, but also a really good human interest story at the same time. We talked with Mackenzie about this, and just sort of finding his subject, and diving into the meat of it all, and it really makes for a great conversation. But like I said, this movie and so many others are playing down Hot Docs, hotdocs.ca. Check it out for more details if you want to come support one of the better festivals, like I said, not only in Toronto, but North America. But first, we'll talk a little more Constant Battles with Mackenzie, because it's a darn good conversation. We'll see you soon. All right, well, Mackenzie, I mean, just first off, officially, congrats on the film. I got to watch
Thank
it
you.
last night. I absolutely loved it, and I mean, just thank you for the time and just getting to come to Hot Docs with it.
Yeah, we're very excited.
I guess my first question is walk me through, I guess, finding Nayusha and I mean, wanting to tell the story. Because, I mean, honestly, I kind of appreciated how you tackle this. It was very much like I appreciated the sports angle in combination with sort of the social angle as well. It really felt very relevant, and they meshed well together.
Well, I appreciate that. Sorry, can you repeat the beginning of the question? Did you just say
Just in
how I?
terms of like finding Nayusha and like
Sure.
like finding her as a subject, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it was through community connections that I came across Nisha. I kind of started to get interested in boxing, of talking to some friends, and just kind of asked if they knew of any interesting stories from the boxing world. Because selfishly, I kind of like to find a story from a community or from a um, something that I'm curious about, and it's usually an access point. And then they're like, "Well, Nusha's got a pretty interesting story right now that she might go to the Olympics." And so I started following her and reached out, and we chatted, and then saw that she was going to the protests for women life freedom. And I just, after speaking to her a few times, saw that. that was, I don't want to say a more interesting story, but it definitely made the story more nuanced. And um, so yeah, we just spent a lot of time together to like initial meetings and talking about what the project could look like. And um, I've done a few sports stories now, both as a producer and a director, and it is, I feel like a bit of a tale of as old as time. As uh, the athletes are always trying to tell the sports story, and the filmmakers are always trying to tell the story behind that, um, and blending it can be challenging too. So I'm really thankful for the team that we had around us, and for Nusha too, for choosing to be vulnerable at times when, especially, I think like boxing is a sport that, I mean, all athleticism and all sports, if you build this tough exterior and you're there to compete and you're there to win, and it can be challenging to drop that and to just be human and to be vulnerable. And I think Nusha was really brave in doing that.
And I mean, in watching it, I really did get the sense that she had a very clear understanding of the reality that, you know, she was in a very unique position, not just in trying to qualify for the Olympics, but being sort of an Iranian woman trying to qualify for the Olympics, especially in the sport.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it did. It kind of sat behind everything that she did. And to be honest, I think at times even added to the pressure of it. Like, it's one thing to have a personal goal, but then when you take on kind of a community as well and say, or just, just not even by choice, but just by circumstance, to be like, oh, I could be the first Iranian woman to do that. And that would mean so much to the women of Iran, especially young women and women in the Canadian Iranian diaspora. And so there's an added pressure there as well.
How on board were her parents to sort of take part in this? Because I mean, even in watching it, and I mean, I was so struck by something her mother said, and I mean, I was just paraphrasing, just to sort of calm down your need for perfection, and you'll get there eventually. And I mean, even in thinking that and seeing her fight, I'm like, if she had only won two of the three fights in qualifying, this would have been a different movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think. Well, I know. I mean, her parents were instrumental for the film. One, just letting us into their home, and also supporting Nusha with telling the story and being on camera. And there's a risk for them, more risk for her parents than for Nusha. Like Nusha doesn't go back to Iran where her mother does, and um, and her father, and so. Um, yeah, a huge risk, and very thankful for them to let us into their lives and their home. And the story really became more about Nusha and her mom's relationship.
Mm.
And I think that without her mom's participation, yeah, it would have been a completely different film. And her mom actually, like at one point while making the documentary, thanked us as a team that made the process of making the doc had brought them a lot closer together and given them an opportunity to have conversations that maybe they wouldn't have had without it. So that was a cool feeling as well.
No, and I mean, it's one of those things where you really did get the sense that they kind of both understood each other and how they're both fighters, but just in very different ways. And I mean, it's one of those things that obviously you as a filmmaker can't plan. I mean, was that something that, like you're behind the camera and kind of noticed in the moment and went, oh, oh shit, this is going to work perfectly?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's going to work perfectly, right? But it's definitely something you notice and try to lean into. And I think maybe that's like I go back to it too is Nisha wants to tell a sports story because that's what she's driving towards and wants to achieve, and that's her current goal. And I think that's even we say it, and partially what the documentary is about is that she is singularly focused on this. So sometimes that can be hard too, and in a documentary when. Um, People like, yeah, there's no script that you're all on the same page of like this is the film that we're making, but definitely, and especially after doing the interview with her mom and the way that she was vulnerable and told her story and was very open with us, and her mom's just a joy to be around, and you can tell how much she loves Nusha, and that with that dichotomy of like, loving someone and wanting to support them on their dreams, but also thinking that, like, maybe if you changed these certain things, your life would be easier or better, and it's all from a place of love. So I I identified with that, and I think like we all can. And I think that's the thing about like, yeah, about any story, but especially sports stories, is it just all comes back to human relationships, right? So I think
Oh yeah.
we were lucky to be able to be let into their home and be able to capture some of that relationship between them.
Well,
To be honest, I wish we could have done more of that.
well, no, for sure, for sure. But at the same time, it really did feel like you as a filmmaker were very aware of how this needed to look because it looks like $1 million. Like the interviews look great. The sort of fighting vignettes look great, and I mean, it really did feel like you were conscious of having it have a sports sheen while still telling, like you say, a story that's based on love. And I
Mhm.
mean, like for you, was that sort of paramount going in, or is that something you kind of discovered after the fact?
It was paramount going in. Like that was always the plan, and was lucky to work with Mitchell Baxter and have the support of like gear houses in Vancouver. That we made a lot of this during the like tail end of the strike, so there wasn't a lot of shooting going on in
Right.
Vancouver, and some gear houses were like really generous and like allowing us to shoot on really amazing equipment. And so but yeah, I think that was always kind of the plan, is like, okay, it's a boxing story, it's got the disguise of a boxing story, but it's really not about boxing, but we need to put that finish and that veneer on it to draw people in and to draw that audience in.
And I mean, even at the end of the day, most boxing stories are about so much more than just boxing. And I mean, I think that's sort of the magic of the boxing story.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm kind of curious for you because obviously making a film like this, there's going to be temptation to lean into certain beats. But I found that you kind of veered away from that and allowed a lot of it to happen maybe more organically than maybe I expected. Like how conscious of you were you to be like not make sort of the prototypical 30 for 30 doc or sort of the prototypical sports doc and make something like we've been saying felt more grounded emotionally rather than sort of celebratory of the sport.
You know, I would love to say that I just came into it like with that idea and that I'm that, talented and had it thought out beforehand, but I will be honest and say no, and that I think we found the story as it unfolded and found it in the edit, and it even took some time after. Like there was the first cut did have a lot more of explaining the boxing and explaining the what happens if she wins versus loses, and getting a little bit more granular and deep on that, and even a little bit more granular and deep on ADHD, like getting a little bit more medical. And like I had interviews with her that I was going to therapy with her, and filming it. And I think it's also too, this is my first time doing something of this scale that's 40 minutes. I'm used to making shorts at 20 minutes. And I think every time you extend the runtime, there's a bit of a learning opportunity and on how to tell that story. And so it took a lot of cuts actually, and a lot of watching it and being like, you know what, the core of the story is that relationship and that struggle, and really trying to like keep those moments and then just leave what was absolutely necessary of the rest.
Now, I mean, I guess that begs the next question. Are you as a filmmaker sort of eager to roll out and expand that sort of running time even more, or are you sort of are you happy with sort of the brevity of the moment?
No, I mean, I would love to work on a feature or a series eventually. And it's kind of funny though, I've kind of gone back to just lately with some smaller projects since filming Constant Battles and finishing it, just to like even shorter, like working on like under 10 minutes. I
Yeah.
think maybe as a more just to get my feet under me again, and like and get the, I mean, Constant Battles took a long time and like it took years, and sometimes it's nice just to pick up the camera, go make something, edit it, and have it out in a couple weeks or a couple months. But now that Constant Battles is screening, and especially when we get to watch it on a big screen, thanks to Hot Docs, and it's out on Telus, and people can watch it. I think, yeah, I've got a couple ideas cooking for a feature project, which I'm excited about.
Well, you got some great rooms to show it in for sure. And I mean, just to start putting a bow on this, I'm curious from your perspective because people tend to forget that short film is a medium all its own. And I mean, from your perspective, what is it about short film that is so vital and so distinct as you sort of separate it from sort of the mid to longer stuff?
I think that there's a space in short to experiment.
Mm,
Like, I think that there's there's some stories don't need an hour and a half, and that
yeah.
if it existed at an hour and a half, we wouldn't be as interested in them, and then we wouldn't see them because they wouldn't get the attention. And there's just some really great stories that you just need like 10 minutes to tell. And so I'd like to see more platforms for short films. The festivals do an amazing job, but the average even cinema lover isn't seeing that many shorts. So yeah, it's kind of curious. Sometimes scratch my head at why streaming platforms, like big platforms, don't have more shorts, because I think that, especially when you see the way that like media is going, of getting shorter and shorter for on average what we're consuming, like literally YouTube shorts or Instagram reels or things.
Yeah.
It's interesting that we don't have kind of that medium length of 10 to 20 minutes as a regular offer to us much anymore.
No, and you're right. It's because it's one of those things where it feels like the streamers haven't quite caught up yet. It's one of those things where you'll see the occasional high profile thing that may get nominated for an Oscar or that kind of thing, but not
For
a ton
sure.
of it is happening yet. But it's starting to, it really does feel like we're in a bit of a groundswell to have that shift. I mean, thanks to companies like TELUS and festivals that are really highlighting films like yours, we're definitely, at least from my perspective, we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
But I mean, Mackenzie, man, just this is a hell of a movie. And I'm a boxing fan myself, and I got into it
Oh,
from minute
great.
one. But I mean, thank you for sharing your story. I mean, and just congrats on being at Hot Docs, and thank you for the time and the insight today. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.